You know, I never would have guessed that this tiny little portable device right here would leave such a lasting imprint on me. As much as I've leaned on the NES throughout the years, I may have made more memorable moments with my Game Boy. Although the games themselves were bite-sized in delivery, they sure didn't come across that way, especially by the time I was through with them. If you were looking for portable power prior to the Game Boy, then you were sorta out of luck. The handheld market wasn't exactly rich in resources prior to its launch. You may have had a few of those infamous Game & Watch devices prior, but still, those were more of a novelty in my opinion. Even during the height of this Big Bricks run, I wouldn't exactly call it a competition, well, competition. It was years before a true competitor stepped up, and by then, the Game Boy's legacy was imprinted on the vast majority of the consumer base. Still, some handhelds will go on to become more memorable than others. What really sold me on the Game Boy wasn't the portability aspect of it at all. What caught my attention was the rich library of exclusives that were debuting for it. These Game Boy titles weren't just counterparts to many of our favorite console releases. More often than less, they were reimagined events of a classic entry, or in many instances, direct sequels altogether. However, for many in the market looking to purchase a Game Boy, one key factor would oftentimes persuade one's decision. The original DMG 101 screens were god-awful to play on. Let's just say you didn't really get a good sense of clarity going into these games blindfolded. That was until we were blessed with the Game Boy Pocket in all of its beautifully polished monochrome glory. Gone were the days of succumbing to that wretched pea soup green display. Now we could enjoy these amazing titles through a brand new lens. With a variety of ways to enjoy these releases now, I'm still discovering new titles to this very day, which brings things full circle to today's Contra review. When it came to portable fun on the go, bet your ass Konami would throw their hat into the mix, bringing us a worthy follow-up to this flagship series. Yet, with the Alien War still a few years away, where exactly does Operation C fall on the timeline? How would these events impact the series going forward? Well, it's sort of smack dab in the middle of our alien dogfight. So, without further ado, we gotta go down this rabbit hole once more, where we discover a new faction whom has capitalized on the alien war front, slowly rising to power. 1 year after the storied events of Super C, the war on Earth is met in fallout, leading to a rogue faction assembling silently behind the scenes, stationed somewhere deep within the South Pacific. These powers-to-be work under a codename, the Black Vipers, collecting data on the war between the Contra Force and Red Falcons over time. Their true claim to fame came shortly after obtaining an alien cell, left behind in Gava's defeat. This cell wields unlimited raw energy, encapsulated with the genetic code of Gava's brood. Not only do the Black Vipers have the blueprint to engineer weapons of mass destruction, they also have the alien larvae to harvest their own brood. With such power, they quickly went to work, expanding their empire with infinite supplies at their fingertips. With intel now out on this growing threat, Earth Federation gets in touch with our good old boy Bill Reiser, now tasked with uncovering this new operation to see our way to victory before some real shit pops off. And let's be real here, when it comes to alien cells, we got a good sense of where things may potentially lead us, as these events would now go down in the history books as the secret mission. Although a bite-sized package, Operation C is colossal in delivery. 5 stages in total that share many qualities with its NES brethren. The stages alternate between the classic side-viewed run-and-gun variety to the overhead, over-the-top style of Super C. This feeling is further solidified through an auto-fire feature, a first for the series I might add, now by default replacing the standard machine gun power-up. This, in my opinion, keeps the gameplay from chugging, especially when taking into account this is a handheld title. The traditional spread shot makes a return for another rainy forecast of bullet hells over your opposition. You initially fire a 3-way shot, but upon searching out a second capsule, will upgrade you to a 5-way where all hell breaks loose. We also have the returning new and improved fire shot from Super C, unable to be charged like its Super C equivalent, but will still light a fire under your opponent's underside. However, what's new to the franchise here is the introduction of the homing gun. Similar in delivery to the spread shot, only locks in on enemies roaming about, striking like a pack of killer bees. With new tech at our wayside, we're now reloaded once more, so it's time to go for broke, as we look to light up the night skies for a showdown with the now infamous Black Vipers. This undercover operation soon enough gets busted wide open as we look to sneak atop the shorelines of the Black Vipers' private island. This ain't no fun in the sun vacation escape, folks. It's quite apparent from the initial jump, this rebel faction has been quite busy. These mofos got a whole ass welcoming party waiting at the docks, and you couldn't ask for a better visual interpretation for an OG black and white Game Boy cart. But hey, that should only be expected coming from the brilliant minds over at Konami. This opener breaks you into the action in typical Contra fashion, along with a slew of snipers hanging and banging across the loading bays. As you stampede forward, your reflexes take a hold, ducking down low to avoid the casual armed security systems while taking a wild ride across a mad parts and service elevator, bringing you below to the lower port where things only escalate further. You got some solid platforming ahead of you, with additional layers of offense that can easily sneak up on you if you aren't paying close attention to their every spawn point. Enemy fleets soon circle the waters, looking to pick you off as you hot-footed across the many scaffolds, looking to keep your head above water. As you reach the outer docks, the tide will rise, bringing forth a large submarine equipped with a large cargo of firepower mounted on all sides. Missiles will take to the skies, leaving the sub vulnerable momentarily to unload down into the exposed vessel. Disarming each of the sub's weak points will spark a chain reaction, submerging this massive war vessel below down atop the seafloor. Taking out this first line of defense opens a pathway to the island's base of operations, where we look to uncover more clues to our puzzle. The first of our top-down stages doubles as a parts and service center, where the Black Vipers work around the clock, establishing their fleet. Shoot, who needs offshore accounts when you're dealing in alien cells? And let me just say, the production has been kicked up exponentially. You'll be met by some heavy-handed tankers, equipped with a nasty spread shot of their own to level even the most skilled veterans. The assembly lines are covered in surveillance bots, alarming the guards at each level to greet you upon arrival. For a Game Boy game, this whole sequence is so well done. What's really impressive here is the over-the-top detailed sprite work of the many larger enemy encounters, paired with exceptionally paced stretches that keeps the momentum going across the entire stage. The game continues to deliver steadily throughout, elaborating further with every boss encounter, each bearing this robust stature with unique gimmicks and plenty moving parts that really brings them to life. Securing the factory means we can now move inland, where the real threat lies, deep inside this tropical paradise. You trek deep into the lush terrain, where it appears the Black Vipers have stolen a page out of the Red Falcon's playbook, attacking with a rushdown offense from all sides, while the island's rich foundation is now carved out with mechanical weaponry. The mountain range is bursting at the seams with waterfalls and rolling sediment, forming boulders that crash down beneath you. Here, you make your way upwards, dodging some well-oiled turrets and pesky infantry, patiently waiting inside the many cliffside streams to put a shell in you. Side note here along the way, the soundtrack of Operation C is made up of a sweet blend of arranged tracks from the original Contra to a few exceptional new tracks that gives this adventure some killer bops to rock out to. The stage name, Mayhem on Mutant Mountain, pretty much sums up this ordeal perfectly, as things soon take a turn for the worse, as enemies begin to quickly feel otherworldly, as this nature hike leads you down a path to an all-new alien hive, now guarded by a cybernetic insect hybrid, separating into various segments throughout the stage, picking you apart through the sequence of events. The DNA of Gava's brood has once again adopted to the Earth's resources, bringing forth a colony of insect-alien hybrids that make for a pretty gnarly new species. The hive itself is not so much an alien base, but more so a campsite filled with everything that creeps and crawls throughout the night. Seriously though, this feels more like a bad Starship Troopers sequel than a Contra sequel. These insect nests will erupt if you make contact, breaking open a sack filled with tiny hatchlings crawling your way. These buggers are extremely nimble, and in the process of taking them out, large beetles will sneak up on you, flexing their massive mandibles and spewing out those oh-so-lovely gel spores we've grown accustomed to throughout this series. The nest is constantly under heavy surveillance as bone javelins stretch throughout the corridors, looking to pierce your flesh the moment you cross paths. These will begin to multiply as you close out this area, constantly taking 2 steps forward and 1 back, peeking over your shoulder to dodge each ambush. Reaching the center of the nest rewards you with a meet and greet with the queen herself, whom is just itching to feed her young. This arachnoid alien hybrid is no joke. It's extremely quick on its feet, launching a web-like substance from its backside as it pivots about, spewing more of the lovely gel spore variety throughout the chambers. You need to ultimately find your pocket, like a good quarterback, keeping close enough to clear the line of spores while dodging the webbing all the same. You begin to see a clear line of vision, but it's going to take a few rounds to really get the rhythm down, as this queen picks up the speed as the battle further carries on. Stay toe to toe with this bloodsucker, and with persistence, you eventually score the victory. Destroying the alien hive leaves the Black Viper stronghold unprotected, and with security compromised, we now infiltrate the laboratory to seek out the alien cell. This stage is pretty much everything you could ask for in a handheld finale. Large specimen tubes fill the perimeter, with new alien life forms swimming throughout till they lock eyes on our hero, bursting out their pods to chase you down. The infamous facehuggers have now broke loose, scurrying across the many sectors of the lab, testing your reflexes with various obstacles, hindering your progress. You need to dodge these guys with finesse, as each floor of this mad research center ramps up the challenge. Turrets fire from high above as you look to further your conquest of the alien cell. If you're not climbing your way past each line of security, you're catching a ride there, as each hike ahead is layered in power generators emitting electrically charged currents that pulsate throughout the entire location. Combine that with an endless barrage of alien pests, and you got quite the task ahead of you. As you locate the whereabouts of the alien cell, you're soon stopped dead in your tracks. The Black Viper's ultimate weapon now draws forth as a last line of defense. A masterclass in bioengineering powered by a cellular core of alien ancestry. The Hyanos 614, a weaponized cyborg designed with an unmatched tactile offense. This war machine will quickly take flight, darting across the room looking for the perfect opportunity to get its shot off. The android's rear hatches will open up, deploying a series of heat seekers towards our fearless commando. They will fire upwards first, then quickly crash below. The key here is timing your jumps just right as the final missiles implode to clear the blast. Counterattack when the opportunity presents, and with enough damage, this metallic monster will switch up the offense, detaching its claws as it now looks to lock in on you, swooping in for a quick dissection. Duck down to avoid the assault as the claws now ascend upwards, clinging to the ceiling just long enough for another series of missile launches to occur. Soon after dispatch, the talons will swoop down upon you again when you least expect it. Keep your initial strategy intact as each round passes, continuing your assault, pumping this android's guts full of lead till it topples over, leaving you mere yards away from the alien cell. As you make your way through the Black Viper's chamber, the floors around you begin to erupt with a series of electrical currents radiating upwards, looking to halt your pursuit. Keep moving at a slow and steady pace till you make your way cliffside. Now face to face with the alien cell, you know what must be done. Draw your rifle one last time, letting everything go as you send round after round into the cell's glass chamber. The glass slowly separates with each shot fired until the moment of triumph prevails. The tube gives way, shattering throughout the room, causing the alien cell to ignite into a ball of fire as it steadily burns along with the dreaded lab surrounding you. Reality then kicks in, and at this very moment, your journey comes to an end as the scene fades out, opening back up moments later to a rescue chopper housing our legendary commando, now slowly ascending up and over the island as you finally put this nightmare to bed, once and for all. Operation C is an easy pickup and playthrough if you have a solid hour or so to kill. It was the very first home Contra release built from the ground up, and one that works exceptionally well within the confines given. It's quite remarkable what the cast at Konami was able to do, considering the Game Boy was still in its infancy stages. If you're looking for a quick Contra fix, then this one's a no-brainer. From its highly detailed sprite work to the over-the-top boss encounters, it delivers on all ends with an extra level of care that finds this pint-sized outing never missing a beat. Each stage rolled in with unique parameters that kept you engaged, readily on your tiptoes for whatever came forth. It's not only an excellent handheld adventure, but one that truly adds to the long-running legacy of the Contra series. It gave players a reason to take a risk on the Game Boy, and thankfully we did because I have many more Game Boy reviews in the pipeline. However, with our mission accomplished, this closes out my very first Contra marathon. For everyone that took some time out of their day to show some support, I thank you, and it keeps me motivated to continue doing these. Whether you stop in to give a critique of the video, or to just say what's up, it makes this channel that much more personable, and for that, I can't thank you guys enough. These reviews have always primarily focused around the storytelling elements, along with my personal connection to them over the years. If you can elicit some sort of emotional response from a story or experience shared, then I believe you can drive home a far greater message. I hope in some way these reviews may have unlocked a memory hidden away, or sparked an interest of your own to share, and if so, then to me, that's a win right there. Who knows what the next chapter has in store for this channel, but one thing remains constant: you will be hearing many more stories surrounding these all-time classics in time. Till our paths meet again, Commandos.